It's almost 2020. What futurist thing did you seriously think we'd have by now? Story 1. My dad, who was born in 1950, is severely disappointed we don't have commercially available hoverboards or hovercars by now. He also thinks that hoverboards, the two-wheeled balance things, are a disgrace to the name. I have to agree. Edit. Yes, I'm fully aware of why flying cars aren't the best idea. He means hover cars, not flying cars. Cars that hover a few inches feet off the ground? Their purpose? None really, but still pretty frickin' cool. Story 2. While I wanted hoverboards, I'm pretty impressed. I mean, seriously, we have fingerprint scanners in our phones. If someone told me that was a thing when I was 8, I would have myself. I thought it only happened in spy movies to get past restricted areas. Story 3. Jetpacks always seem like they're juiced over the horizon. Safe, commercially mass production viable jetpacks. Of course, concepts and collector's items exist, and that band sounds like one of those Imagine Dragons yuppies somehow figured out that a distortion pedal is a thing. Story 4. I don't know if I thought it should be here by now, but I'd like to think we're getting close to universal translators everyone could wear around their neck and just punch in Japanese to German or something, and the device hears your speech and translates it via a speaker, maybe even little robot hands for ASL. Edit. I usually don't edit a top comment like this, but good God people, the hands were a joke. Obviously you'd go with text, that is all. Story 5. IDK, but I'm playing Pokemon Yellow on a smartwatch in the bathroom right now, so I'm all set. Edit. For those asking, it's a Samsung Gear S2 and a regular app from the Samsung App Store. Story 6. I grew up in the 1960s, and I thought we would have been much further along in manned space exploration by now. We haven't gone to Mars yet, or even back to the moon since 1972, but I can't complain about the great science returned from unmanned missions, especially the discovery of other solar systems. On the positive side, the internet and the smartphone are way beyond anything I imagined happening in my lifetime. Story 7. Faster traveling across continents be faster, or at least cheaper. Seems like we're stuck on the same planes from 10 years ago. Would expect the modern ones to be way faster by now, and the current ones we have should be cheaper to reflect that. Something like taking the bullet train versus the regular train. Both should be available at different price points. Story 8. A dramatically higher age cap. Not just average lifespan, but the top of the top lifespan. I always thought it'd be cool to see 200-plus-year-old person. As a kid, I thought we'd also be able to transfer out consciousness to a computer or robot for storage until a vessel like an android were invented. Story 9. Human-shaped robots. Not necessarily AI, but at least some sort of human-shaped vacuum cleaner that can walk around my house while cleaning and greet me with its robotic voice. Story 10. So I actually had an assignment for this in second grade in 1993, which I have the drawing for somewhere. I thought that every car in 2020 would have a microwave in the glove compartment, and a fridge in the center console, and a fold-out bed in the trunk, and one of those Twizzler dispensers on the ceiling. Because Wayne's World, of course. Edit. This is what I envisioned as a 7-year-old people. Obviously, I know what an RV is, and what we are technologically capable of at this point. I was the youngest of 5 kids, and always got the shaft food-wise like the worst-flavored popsicles. Plain Cheerios since everyone hogged the good stuff before me. The smallest or least topped piece of pizza. So I think I really just wanted a car where I could hoard snacks LOL. Most other kids were talking about robots or flying cars or lightsabers and stuff. Story 11. A robot maid that cooks, does the laundry, and folds it, and replenishes the fridge. I don't care about those androids. They are doing the only task I like to do myself. But a true maid, that would be something worth buying. Story 12. As I was growing up, the internet made everyone so much smarter. Checking facts was easier than ever. Being informed about what went on in the world became possible for almost everyone here. I expected that by this time, we would be mostly rid of propaganda, lies in elections, and outright collective dumbness. Instead, we live in the area of fake news and politicians and news channels in an asterisk lot. Asterisk of countries just seem to lie more than ever. Story 13. A larger focus on space travel. Sure, we have SpaceX, but I was expecting something like a new space race to Mars or space tourism, like when Richard Branson promised Virgin Galactic 5 years ago. Story 14. Internet money. Come on, people. $6. $4 billion a year in the US alone we are paying to criminals through credit card fraud. A system designed in the 50s has no place being shoehorned into the internet era. Story 15. Check it out. I can save these documents to this little bitty 5 1/4 inches floppy. Pretty soon we'll live in a world where paper documents will be totally obsolete. Story 16. A word processing application that can proofread, align indentation, and convert PDF files without a million minor formatting changes that all need to be stripped out manually. Also, Excel sheets should move seamlessly into Word documents. My iPhone has improved dramatically in 10 years, but MS Office has stagnated for the 20 years I've used it. The only improvement is they got rid of Clippy. Everyone I know with an office job is stuck with it and powerless to vote with their wallet for a new standard. It amazes me that nothing has come forward to replace it. Story 17. Video calling turned out better than I expected as I saw the progress through my childhood. The fact that is in nearly every pocket is a technological breakthrough for the deaf community, in my opinion. Story 18. Confirmed detection of life outside of the solar system. Yet here I am, still looking for flying saucers on AR Przybylski star, r/KIC 8462852 or r Oumuamua. Story 19. Centralized medical records. Every time anyone goes to see a new doctor, they have to arrive early so they can fill out a bunch of redundant paperwork. Doc, you can get more info with less chance of mistakes by just asking the doctor who referred me to you. Don't make me fill out my address a half dozen times or struggle to spell my medications, which have names that are 15 letters long. Release forms exist. HIPAA is asterisk, not asterisk, a valid excuse. Story 20. At one time, I seriously thought the whole show would have collapsed by now and we would be back to some kind of medieval barter economy. Glad I was wrong. Story 21. As a child, I looked forward to everything in this book published in 1979. Story 22. When I was a kid, I had a book that said we'd probably have manned missions to Mars by 1995. The other day, Mike Massimino tweeted that we might get there in another 25 years, and I'm like, I'll be dead by then. Story 23. Permanent. Tattoo printers. Real self-driving cars. Real personal assistant AI. Extraterrestrial tourists. Dirt-proof clothes. Wireless electricity indoors at least. Retina implant monitors or any real biohacking, at least TV back then, told me the world would be a wonder by now. Story 24. A way to easily send files anywhere to anyone. For anything that isn't tiny and can fit in an email, you still have to do things like sign up for Dropbox, upload it to your account, and make a share link. I can download a 100 GB game on my unlimited internet plan, no problem. But someone wants to send anything to me more than 20 MB, suddenly it's a big to-do. Story 25, high-speed internet in my town. We have HughesNet right now, and with 5 people living in the house, use it up so fast. It works great for about 2 weeks of the cycle, then we get throttled. Story 26, Undersea and Sea Lab. 2020, I was 6 years old when this cartoon came on in 1969, and remember doing the math and realizing I would be 57 when it was 2020, and realized I would be as old as the grandfather in the cartoon. Damn, we only got 1 year and a month to get this thing built. Story 27. I thought there to be a lot more neon, but that's about it. When my high school English teacher in 1998 talked about 2020, it was as this distant concept her and her friends joked about in the 70s and 80s. By the late 90s, it was less abstract, and she realized all the things she'd expected to see change in the last 20 years hadn't, so she had to readjust her perspective for what she'd expect to see change in 20 more. I gave it some thought, and I didn't think we'd get flying cars or advanced space travel, but I did think things would be more cyberpunk. I thought we'd have holographic billboards, and cars that look like they can fly in space even though they don't. I thought personal computing devices would be easy to carry around in our pockets, but I never visualized anything as advanced as a smartphone. The idea of a touchscreen microcomputer just sitting in my pocket and always connected to the internet isn't something I thought of as real until about 2011, which is probably around when I got my first iPhone. So all in all, reality is both more advanced and less exciting than I imagined. Story 28. Internet is not as fast across the country as I thought it would be. And more importantly, it's not available everywhere at these incredible speeds. Basically, I didn't accept shitty data plans that limit you or slow your data after a certain amount is used in your unlimited plan. I fully expected to be able to play video games online on my PS4 in my car on long road trips. I still accept that to happen within the next year while my car drives me, or else I'm not going to be happy. Story 29. I thought wearable heads-up displays would be way more common by 2020, like smart glasses or smart contacts. They exist, but it's still niche and not good enough.